Hello guys, this is Average Trader and welcome to week 37 of our trade logging series. This week we made a 2R to round off our March month, right? It was a pretty good month and a pretty good week to end the month on. There's a lot to learn and we'll get straight into these slides shortly. But first I want to remind you guys, if you guys want to see all of these trades taken live and maybe take them for yourself, head on over to our website. Our chat room is the only chat room with a profit promise guarantee. So if we don't make money for any given month, our callouts that is, you don't pay a single dime for that month, right? And we're the only chat room out there that does this because we have so much confidence in our trading, and that's how it should be, right? Well, without further ado, let's get straight into the first trade of the week. The first trade of the week was a stop out, unfortunately. Verizon VZ 3805 by 3790. And the reason we took this was because of this massive engulfing bar on a gap up with a bottoming tail previous bar, right? Massive bullish sign, and it was going pretty good for a while, right? You could even say this is a 3-bar play, right over here. But unfortunately, the topping tails started to come in, and when we saw this huge red bar, we knew this thing was done. Unfortunately, it did not hit 1R, so I did not move my stop loss to break even, and after a couple more minutes, it stopped us out. So very, very unfortunate, but honestly, nothing we could have done. I think we read the charts right. I think we did everything right, but markets just gave us a bad hand, and there's nothing we can do about that. So we live and we move on. Next trade we took was NFLX, 324 by 322. And if you look at the right side over here, this is NFLX charts, right? And you might be asking, how did we know to get in at 324 and how did we know to put the stop loss at 322? Look at the Qs, guys. Once again, we use the Q and the spies for market for our market bias, and look how extended on the downside the Qs are, right? The Qs are looking for a bounce, and when the Qs bounce, Netflix, Apple, these type of stocks will all bounce with it. This Netflix was actually showing huge amounts of strength, right? Because as the huge Qs were tanking, right, Netflix didn't really drop that much, right? So when we saw this huge, massive bottoming tail on the Qs, we knew we had to get in this thing. And fortunately for us, Netflix was at the low of the day. We got in at 324, stop loss at 322, and got out pretty easily at 1R at 326. So really, really good example of using multiple chart analysis to get into a trade and get out very easily. Well, next trade we took was NIO 930 by 925, and we got 2R out of this thing. This was a gap up, and I had this on my trading radar for a while now because of the massive strength it was showing the days before. So we saw this doji bar, bottoming tail, super tight stop loss for a trade that we usually take, so only 5 cents. But we got 2R really, really quickly out of this, and one of those trades that had you not have been paying attention over the last couple of days, you might have missed this, right? But once again, we do all of this live over in the chat room, so if you wanted to take this with us, you could have, but the trade was NIO 930 and 925 2R really, really easily. Next trade is NVDA 270 by 269, and unfortunately we got stopped out of this thing, and honestly it was a pretty aggressive trade, right? I think a better entry would have been 270.50, right? But unfortunately I was super aggressive in NVDA and tagged us in on this topping tail, and immediately came down to our stop loss. I was expecting this green bar to provide some sort of strength to NVIDIA, but unfortunately I think markets took a turn and stopped us out pretty quickly. Nothing we really could have done there except for take a more safe entry, and you live and you learn, and next time we will definitely try not to make the same mistake again. Next trade we took was Meta 204.22 by 203.72. Got 1R out of this trade as well. And we took this off of a 1-minute buy setup over here, right over here. And look at this beautiful 3-bar play that formed in the beginning of the day. This probably went 1R. The 3-bar play was 204.20 by 203.50, right? So a 70-cent stop. And it went all the way to like 205.20. Right, so definitely would have hit 1R, but we missed it. But we got the second entry, which is the buy setup. And what does previous resistance turn into? It turns into new support, right? So this thing was looking for a retracement, and we got into it perfectly, right? 204.20 by 203.72, easy 1R rocket fuel. Next trade we took was Walmart, WMT 145.90 by 145.05, and we got tagged at break even on this, unfortunately. We took this off of a breakout right over here, and it went, almost 1R, or maybe it did hit 1R, I'm not very sure, but it came all the way back down and tagged us at break even, and there's nothing we really could have done. It is sort of extended on the 1 minute and the 2 minute, right? So we could have looked out for that and maybe got out a bit early, maybe took half of an hour profits, but half an hour or break even, not really my style. So we got tagged at break even, and that was this trade. Next trade we took was CAT 227 by 226.50, and this was one of those trades where I think the computers got us, right? The high frequency traders got us right here, right? Because 227 was way up here, right? You can see this topping tail snagged us in, computers came in and flushed us out, right? So this is one of those trades where you really couldn't have predicted something like this. It was a beautiful breakout. An even more aggressive entry was like 226.90 area, right? But we got in at a safer 227, still tagged us in, went all the way to like 227.10 right before flushing us out, and the robots on Wall Street made bank that day, right? And really there's nothing you can do. You just move on, and this is why we take stops, and move on, right? Next trade we took was DraftKings DKNG 1915 by 1905. You guys love and probably know by now that I love taking these engulfing bar breakouts, and this is exactly what it was, right? 1915, the engulf right over here, 1905, right? Bottom of this previous bar right here, and shot up to 1R pretty easily, right? Not really much to say about this. These engulfing bar breakouts, although I have to say, are very, very quick trades. By the time you recognize them, you could only have like 5 seconds to, calculate your order size, get your entry in, your stop loss in, all that type of stuff. So this is for more of the advanced traders out there. But regardless, we took this live, might have to add, at averagetrader.live by 1915 by 1905 DKNG, got 1R out of it, easy peasy. And that's all the trades we took this week, right? As you can see, we took a couple stops, but most of them were hit our 1R target, and a lot of them actually, if you're using a different trading strategy, hit 2R target, right? So it all depends on what you took, right? But once again, if you do want to see all of these trades live, head on over to our website. If you have any further questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or join our Discord, right? I'm pretty active there, and there you can find a lot of good resources for traders like you and me. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this week's trade logging series, and I will see you guys next week for the continuation of our trade logging series. Have a nice weekend, guys. Bye bye.